I have no desire to be a hoarder. I don't want that for my life. I didn't know any better, which, don't get me wrong, I love a good hot girl walk. It just doesn't hit the same. About a week ago, I decided that I wanted to make some changes in my life. I was barely listing. I was wasting my time. I felt like my health hadn't been as good as it could have been. And I really hated the way that I felt, and I really hated the way that I looked. And I decided that I wanted to do a challenge for myself. I typically don't have this issue. I think I just really got into a rut and just had other things that were more important that I was focusing on. As a lot of us do, especially if you're a part-time reseller, you just have like a lot of things going on. And I'm not just a part-time reseller. I have a full-time job. I have a family. I have other responsibilities that I have to take care of. So I just ended up allowing it to go by the wayside. But the problem is that I was still thrifting. So I still wanted that dopamine hit. I still wanted to have that thrill of the hunt that we're all out there searching for, but it just got way out of hand. The first thing I have is that I have to list 7 items daily. Now, I'm not the most consistent. The next thing is that I have to process at least 7 items. So processing items could be anything. It could be steaming, it could be washing, or missing a button or something like that. I have to source or research for 30 minutes. These are daily goals, but for me personally, I chose to research most of the time because I do have so much stock already. And I found better things that were not oversaturated and were going for good money that way, that weren't all over the internet. Then I have that I need to send offers, cross list, or refresh my store. Ending listings and relisting them with better keywords. Those older items that have been hanging around since I was a little baby reseller that I didn't know any better and didn't realize that things like sell-through rate mattered. Or it could be that I just need to tweak a little something different. Maybe I put in the wrong item specific and now my buyer can't find it. Those kinds of things. I definitely have changed over the last 9 years that I've been a part-time reseller. So for me, I know that I'm better than I was 9 years ago, you know? So also, as far as sending offers, I have to send offers daily. I typically do send offers, but I used to let them pile up. And I do feel like there are some of those shy buyers out there who they don't want to run the risk of offending a seller by sending them an offer that is probably a little on the lower side, but that's what they can afford. So they're just waiting. I send offers all the time. Usually they're pretty modest, about like maximum 15%, but I want to send offers daily to those buyers because I want to get that money as soon as I can. The next thing that I have is that I have to track my numbers. That did include me going and buying a scale. I'm really not into weighing myself on a regular basis. Like, it's not something I ever really cared about. I care about my health, but more so in the sense that I just want to make sure that I'm not putting myself at risk for other health complications because I'm neglecting things in my life that I should be doing. And that would be exercising, sleeping, just generally taking care of myself. Now for my personal goals, I decided that I was going to also work in what a normal 75 hard would be, and I was going to exercise at least one time every single day for 30 to 45 minutes. And the choice could be anything, any kind of movement, something where I'm moving my body, something as simple as yoga or a walk or a jog or like a 30-minute HIIT workout, something like that, just to get my body moving. I also decided to do the water goal, where I am drinking a gallon of water, and I'm currently on my second one of the day. This is 20, where is it? This is 32 ounces, so if I drink 4 of these, then I will meet my gallon goal. And I've been doing pretty good with that, to be honest with you. Having a dedicated bottle is great. The next thing I have is that I have to follow a nutrition plan. And generally that just for me means that I want to eat healthier, lower calorie, less fats, less saturated fats and processed foods. And I think I'm leaning a little bit over towards like the more Mediterranean diet, or maybe like the whole 360 diet. I think that I'm moving over to that, and that's something that I think would be healthier for me. I do feel like I do eat a lot of junk when I'm tired and I don't feel like making a meal. And especially during my busy season at work, that was really tough. So definitely want to get better at that. And the last thing I have is that I want to read or listen to a book for at least 30 minutes. So I tend to listen to books more often. I can multitask and wash dishes or do a workout or something like that, and it's pretty easy for me to do that in 30 minutes. I don't really like to read necessarily. I'm not the fastest reader, but then also I will fall asleep like that. If I am reading a book, I will most likely fall asleep and the book will be on the floor. Like, I just prefer that. So I actually do have a library card, and I use this app that's called Hoopla, I think, and also the Libby, and my local library provides audiobooks for me for free. So I'm loving that right now, to be honest with you. And so now I'm going to give my real honest thoughts. Is the time limits. I feel like it doesn't really allow for a lot of flexibility, which can be good. Some people need a lot more structure. I do think that part is nice, but it does mean that if I am doing a workout and I feel really motivated and I'm now at my 45 minutes or 30 minutes and I really want to continue, but I don't want to do that because I have to do it again tomorrow, it does make me feel like I can't do as much, and I have to restrict it, which I do feel like I like having flexibility if time allows for it. And then also, like, if I'm really in a groove and I am photographing something, then that means that I have to stop photographing because I'm at my 30-minute limit. Means that I can't do more of that. I will say when it comes to washing items, that is something I'm not stopping at 7 for, and it does help me reset for the very next day. I am the type of person that if I am really in a groove and I'm listening to music, I will keep photographing for an hour. I will photograph for 2 hours because I want to go ahead and do it now while I want to do it, as opposed to having a specific day. I have to do it every day. So that has changed my schedule a lot. Now, on the other side of that is that it limits me going off on side quests. So situations where I normally would start photographing something and get distracted because I got pulled away, or I, had to temporarily step out or something like that, and I couldn't be at home to photograph those things. For me, it stops me from deciding, oh, well, wait, let me clean this. And then 30 minutes have gone by and all I know is that I never finished doing the photographs that I started. Or it stops me from deciding that I'm not going to put the clothes in the dryer because I got sidetracked and decided I was going to start washing the dishes. I do tend to do things like that. I am someone who does have a smaller attention span than other people, and so for me it is something that has helped me because I'm not dedicating time to something and then realizing that I never got what I wanted to get done. I will say another thing that I noticed is that it did make me want to get started earlier in the day. Listening to the book that I want. I don't want to wait and do that. I want to listen to it. So I would listen to it while I'm on a car ride, on my way to work, or when I'm running errands or something like that. It's just so easy for me to go ahead and knock that out. Working out earlier in the day actually is something I prefer to do. I feel like it just sort of like sets a tone for my day, and it also doesn't make me want to wait until the evening to do it, because then that means that I'm going to be tired, and the most that I'm going to do is a hot girl walk or something, which, don't get me wrong, I love a good hot girl walk every once in a while. Like, yes, queen. But I feel like if I'm not being intentional about the workout, that it just doesn't hit the same. And another thing that I learned is that carrying over definitely works better for me than to be very strict, like a typical 75 hard. Usually with a 75 hard challenge, a typical one means that if you don't make your daily goal, that you have to start all over again. I don't have a desire to do that. I personally feel like the idea is not that I'm supposed to punish myself for failure. I feel like if I were to put that kind of constraint on myself, I would give up super easily. And I do feel like I value just being a little bit more resilient in that, like, okay, I didn't do the thing I said I was going to do, but tomorrow maybe this circumstance changed and I had to change it a little bit because of how many hats I wear on a regular basis. So for me, it helps to carry it over. I didn't want this to be a humiliation ritual. I didn't want this to be me just like watching my confidence like leave the chat. I want to feel like I'm not a failure, and if that means that I have to give myself some grace because I am just a girl who's trying to better herself, well, then that's what I'm gonna do. I did fall asleep one day, and that meant that I didn't get all of my listings up because I fell asleep on number 4. And I had to go to work the very next day. So I gave myself a pass, and my plan was that I was going to just list it in the morning, and I did, and that worked out better for me. I think there was one other time where I had listed the same item twice. I didn't even know you could do that on eBay. I swear that was like a thing where they would tell you like you have a duplicate item, but somehow I listed the same item 2 times, and then that meant that like I didn't actually get 7 up that day. It was really only 6. Now, I will say that drinking a gallon of water daily has the earliest effects. And for me, drinking a gallon of water usually means that I don't have time to drink a lot of sugary drinks. I need to meet my 1 gallon water goal, and maybe that does mean that it's more of like a bathroom schedule. But what I am going to do is I'm going to drink my water, and maybe I don't have a second soda today. Maybe I didn't have a Red Bull this morning, or after I drink my coffee, maybe I just need to be at the closest receptacle. Days that I have to do YouTube are the worst. At the time that I am recording this, I am supposed to get this video up today. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I do know that like I have been extremely busy lately, and there was no way I was going to be able to do it before that. So it does mean that like I am having to push that back, and it's made it a little bit more complicated. Now I will say I'm just not the type of person who like doesn't have 1,000 ideas going on in my head at one time. And sometimes the day before I say, hey, you know what, I don't want to do that video, I want to do this one instead. And I do feel like because I'm doing this challenge, it's starting to mean that I'm not shifting my mind to YouTube as much. And it's really made me think about like how I want to move forward with trying to do all the things. So I think it'll either go one of two ways. It'll either make it so that I get better, or it'll make it so it's impossible. I don't know yet, but I am going to see at some point, I guess. I will say, as far as like the eating nutritional part, I do feel like the biggest challenge is probably like meal prep for me, just because I have to be very intentional with my time. And so for that, I am having to go ahead and do like a weekly meal prep just so that I can have healthy options in my home. And it has made me rely on my crock pot a lot more than I did before. I feel like so far so good. And that's everything. Let me know, is there an obstacle that you really need to overcome? I know for me that this challenge has definitely been a challenge, and I think that is doable. I think anybody could do something similar. If there's something that you want to work on, I'm always down for improving things and trying to get that work-life balance that I've always wanted. I'm not giving up. I feel like I'm in week 1, but at the same time, I'm emotionally at week 6. But we're going to roll with it. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying the series that I'm doing. My next YouTube video is going to be a thrift with me that I just filmed this past weekend. And I'm really excited to get that up. I love fall. But I will see you guys on the next one, and hopefully I get this one up today. I don't know.